All right, everybody. Thank you, Ricky. I want to take a moment to thank Donna for all of that stuff out there she bought.
There is the chocolate.
I like chocolate. All right. So, one of the questions I was asked, I guess she wants to remain anonymous. So she said, what if men don't want to talk about a relationship? She just asked me that. I think the answer to that is obvious. You're probably not with the right person. If you don't want to talk about a relationship and you're in a relationship, you don't want to talk about your lives. There's something wrong with that. So, and I'll kind of share with you my goals, which cover that in a little bit. All right, so now we're at part 3, having a healthy relationship. Now, I want to tell you, I got good news and I got bad news. The good news is I'm going to share with you tools to have a healthy relationship. The bad news is you're not going to be able to utilize them until you have a healthy self. You must be healthy, and your partner must be healthy in order for you to have a healthy relationship. It's that sick plus healthy equals sick. Okay? So if you don't have a healthy self, okay. Now here's the thing. What is normal in a relationship today? Well, statistics have shown that 25% of today's adults come from a healthy, functional family. 25%. What it doesn't tell you is that 75% come from a dysfunctional family. If 25% come from a healthy, functional family, then the rest don't. Right? So 75% of the people. So what's that? What does that mean? That means that dysfunction is the norm. What's normal today in a relationship is dysfunction. We have to understand that. Okay? Now, a healthy, functional family teaches you some tools for living in 3 important areas. And I'll kind of talk a little slower now, so if you want to write down stuff, and don't forget you can always look it up on there. But and the 3 areas are emotional, intellectual, and relationships. Okay? Emotional, they teach you how to recognize what you feel, label it, the ability to listen to others' feelings. Intellectual, they teach you how to think clearly and accurately without major denial. Life, more or less, as it is. And relationships, they teach you how to relate in a productive manner with other human beings. So a healthy, functional family teaches you to identify with your brain and express your feelings with your gut. Think clearly, reality-based, express opinions, and cope with others. That's what you learn from a healthy, functional family. So it's easy to see what happens when one of the 75% hook up with one of the 25% and the difficulties that they have. So I'm going to go through certain topics and briefly talk about how addictive relationships or unhealthy, dysfunctional relationships deal with it as opposed to. So the first one is, and one of those is the one that you brought up, Mark. We'll get to that in a minute. The first one is dysfunctional or addicted relationships are intense, painful involvement or isolation, abandonment or intense pain. I'm either totally alone till I hurt so bad I can't stand it, or I can be dysfunctionally involved with another intensely until it hurts so bad I can't stand it. Life becomes painful loneliness or painful involvement. Okay, that's what a dysfunctional or addicted relationship is about. And let's look at the way healthy people operate as opposed to the addicted one. And the first area is what we're going to call magical or unrealistic expectations. Before you ever meet your partner, you know what the relationship is going to be. You believe that when you meet the right person, it's going to make you in your life better, without the need to think or act better. Just your involvement with this person is going to make everything else in your life better. It's going to fix you. Now that is under the title of magical or unrealistic expectations. Healthy people are rational and realistic. Healthy people don't get married 2 weeks after they meet their partner. They go through the stages of relationship that we're going to talk about soon. Significant other. That's an interesting word. Why do you think they call it that? This person in your life should be significant for certain reasons, specific reasons. What is significant about your significant other? I ask people that all the time that I work with. They say, you know, my partner. I mean, oh, your significant other? I say, yeah, well, tell me what's significant about her. Yeah, well, you know, she's a good person. That doesn't seem so significant to me. There's millions of good people. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind and try to think about. What makes your partner significant? If that's your significant other, tell me about the significance of that person. Okay, here's the next category. Instant gratification, Maura. Instant gratification. That's the one you talked about, right? Okay. So instant gratification goes like this. Intense sexuality. Instant gratification means I expect my partner to provide me with immediate, instant, and continuous gratification anytime I want it. Isn't that what love is all about? I love you, blow my mind, on demand. What did that for us for so many years? Alcohol and drugs, right? So what we're really looking for is we're looking for a living, breathing drug with the appropriate sex organs. If that's what you expect your partner to be, to give you instant gratification, then that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a living, breathing sex organ. Okay? All this produces a repeated cycle of pain followed by short-term intense pleasure. Finally, I shit-can the relationship only to go out and find another one. Again, healthy people follow the stages of relationships and stay reality-based. Next topic, dishonesty. The belief that the relationship will be destroyed if I know everything about you or you know everything about me. I can't let you know who I am or what I need because you'll leave me. So I got to trick you into what I need. You're giving me what I need. And this sets up the no talk rules, which brings on over control. Work hard at this to make it work, which brings on the obsession. We begin thinking about the relationship when it would be more appropriate to think about where we're at the moment and what we're supposed to be doing. And what do I mean by that? I'm talking about, if I'm at work, I need to be concentrating on work, not her. It's not healthy that I'm at work thinking about her. Or it's not healthy that you're at work thinking about him. So if your mind is where your feet are, that's healthy. Not in some far off fairy tale somewhere where things are, you know, beautiful and everything is great. Because that brings on the kind of stuff like nothing else counts. Everything becomes secondary. Just like alcohol and drugs. Everything is secondary. A healthy relationship is based upon rigorous honesty. You share with your partner who you are, and you know that you are totally, unconditionally accepted for that. Healthy people don't tolerate secrets. Secrets are for people who can't handle the truth. Your partner needs to know all about you. say your partner needs to know all about you, but please don't do a fifth step on your first date. You know, your first date is, I just want you to know I really like you, and I want you to know that, I'm a recovering alcoholic. And, oh, okay, that's nice. And I was in prison. Oh, really? I was in prison. And, you don't need to do that on your first date. But they do need to know everything about you, eventually. Okay, the next topic is lack of trust. A dysfunctional person thinks a relationship is normal with constant pain and struggle, a few good times. A dysfunctional relationship is isolated, you and me against the world. Healthy relationship is rational trust. The norm of the relationship is comfortable, satisfaction, security, a few life problems along the way. Healthy relationship is socially integrated. Now, this is where you might want to take some notes. Okay? Healthy relationships operate on continuing levels, 4 different levels. It is important to understand these levels and how they operate on a daily basis. I'm going to go through these levels, we're going to talk about them a little bit, and then later we're going to bring them back and talk about them some more, because the truth of the matter is, 2 people in a relationship rarely are operating on the same level. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's quite normal. It's not normal to not understand that. So, level 1, we're going to call this superficial involvement. Somebody at work or somebody that you see around is, hi, how are you doing? Bye. A casual friend or a short-term associate. Someone you might have lunch with, or it might even be sexual. Sexuality is no longer an indicator of intimacy in our culture. Just because someone wants to be sexual with you does not mean they want to be intimate with you. Our society has changed over the last few decades greatly in this area. And most of us feel guilty when we're in a relationship like this. We feel we should be more to the other person. No commitment. But we'll see how this level is operated on healthy-wise, how a healthy person uses this level. Okay, level 2 is companionship. This is a personal relationship where 2 people associate for the purpose of sharing common activities. A shared activity. Movie, bowling, that kind of thing. Okay? The activity is more important than the person. The person becomes interchangeable. And that's okay. Some people, their gut might be churning right about now, but that's okay. That's healthy. Level 3, friendship. Now, friendship is the reverse of companionship. 2 people associate for the purpose of mutual support and enjoyment of each other. The person is important. The activity is secondary. So I call my friend and I say, let's do something, and we decide on the activity because it's the person that's important. The activity is interchangeable. Level 4, romantic love. This is a loving relationship. This is a friendship in which there is shared passion, sensuality, and sexuality. The purpose of this relationship is to have a sexy friend. That's what it's all about. If you're having sex with someone who is not your friend, you're into a superficial relationship. Sex without the basis of friendship is not romantic love, it's a shared activity based on intensity, not intimacy. We talked about the difference in those 2 before, right? Excitement, drama, that's what intensity is about. So let's take a look at how a healthy person uses these levels. So you meet someone superficially, You observe them with no commitment. You engage your brain and think. Do I like this person? You engage your gut. Do I feel good about this person? As I observe them, do they seem to be sane? You laugh, but it's not an awful thing to evaluate the sanity of a prospective partner. It is not an awful thing to evaluate a prospective partner.
And how do we define sane? We know.
Well,
We better know.
if you decide that this person probably, not might be, but probably is good for you through this superficial relationship, then you invite them into a companionship with you. A movie, a party, a safe place where there are others around, where there is no chance of intense alone time. Watch how they interact with others while you guys are out together. Don't overlook the warning signs. If you're out to dinner with somebody and he's treating the waiter or waitress disrespectfully, that's a warning sign. If he wants to punch out the ticket guy at the movie theater, that's a warning sign. Don't overlook this stuff because you like him. You can't fix stupid. People are stupid and they can't be fixed, especially by you. So it's not your job to fix stupid. The next thing you do is you start treating them as a friend. You start spending more and more unstructured time so you can get to know them as a person. Out of that friendship emerges sexuality. Now somebody's saying, what? Wait a minute, Danny, you got that backwards. We have sex and then eventually we become friends. No. If sex is the primary foundation of a relationship, it will lead to a dysfunctional relationship 90% of the time. I couldn't find an exact figure for this when I was doing my research for this, but I figured 90% is about right. I thought it might be 95, but I figured I'll leave a little gap for some people that it worked for. Intense sexuality is instant gratification, not unlike the drugs and booze before we sobered up. That's all it is, it's instant gratification. The relationships that survive are the ones that move through the stages from superficial to companionship to friendship to romantic love. Romantic love emerges into a functional association with the other person as you begin to share your life with them. You make commitments in the real world to meet each other's physical, emotional, and social needs. Okay? Now the problem is, people like us, we move from superficial to companionship to friendship to romantic love in about 15 minutes. Maybe 20. We zip right through that. Somebody asked that, I think it was you, this lady here, asked that question before. A healthy relationship builds gradually and slowly. Somebody asked that. When you conduct a relationship this way, it's going to feel abnormal because the norm for you is addictive. So everything I'm sharing now is not normal for people that grew up in a dysfunctional family. It's kind of like parenting, right? I'm sure everybody in this room at one point or another said, when I have kids, I'm never going to do it like that, like my parents did to me, right? And then we find ourselves saying the exact words our mother or father said to us, to our kids, and oh shit, where'd that come from, right? Well, what happens with relationships? It's the same thing. Yes?
In a relationship, if you find that you've gone through the levels out of order, I'm assuming that you can't go back and start over with the same person or the same relationship.
That is a good question. Everybody hear that question?
Yeah.
Let me repeat it for the recording. She asked if you went through the levels out of order, can you go back through with the same person? I think it all depends on what's there. you know, and how healthy you are. See, if you're healthy and you understand these levels, you won't go through them out of order. You know, it's like coming into recovery and working step 10. No, you come into recovery and you work the first step, you know. So there is, you know, for people that say there's no right or wrong way to do recovery, they don't understand the big book. And we lay out a path for you to have a healthy relationship. And the path makes sense, because what it's asking you to do and what it's asking you how to do it, it makes sense. So to come in and do it differently, I don't know if that will work. If you're looking to do it over again, that tells me it doesn't work. So, but I would say that you can always start over again and do it again, but you gotta be careful that you're not trying too hard to make a wrong thing right. We mentioned that a little earlier, you know, that, you know, if the relationship is wrong, you're not gonna make it right. Donna?
I was really blessed with the situation that when I met Sam, we were, you know, on our way to get, you know, we've been there, getting married, and my ex lived in town, and that was a very dysfunctional marriage for 20 years. And we always, you know, our vows, and we get back together, but back and forth, back and forth. And I went to not my priest, but his priest, and I said, my husband's going back into town, and gosh, you know, should I, you know, I've had vows, I'm married, we've got kids. Something that stuck with me, and it's been the most valuable thing, he said, you know, Donna, take Sam out of the picture, he's gonna be fine with or without you, okay? You're just not that special, but, I said, I don't know about that, but he said, let me ask you something, do you love your husband, your ex? I said, well, he's the father of my kids, and there was love, yeah, you know, and damn, if he just hadn't messed around, I think, you know, I mean, you know, if I hadn't been so needy, and, you know, and they said, okay, well, let me ask you this, do you respect me? And I've lost respect. And he said, do you trust me? And I've lost trust. And he said, if you can't go back with respecting him and trusting him, love won't keep your relationship together in a marriage form, you know, but the only way to go back is to really be able to find respect and trust again. And that's difficult. I've never been able to do that. I wasn't able to do that.
Yeah.
Love, I still have, I mean, I have learned to love him. I mean, like I said, love is not to me, it's the respect and trust that binds.
Yeah.
For me, it was good, it worked for me to give me some boundaries.
My two ex-wives, I'm very friendly with both of them. They both love me, but neither one of them want to be with me. So there's a difference between that kind of love and romantic love, you know.
Well, I just think respect and trust.
And respect and trust is
You can go back
about love.
if you could find respect and trust.
Yeah, respect and trust is about love, but it's not about romantic love in this sense that we're talking about. Those are elements of romantic love, but in this particular incident, where, you know, I think respect and love, respect and kindness is something that you show somebody you love. We're going to talk about some definitions of love, but
I have a question.
yes.
I feel like I always brush the levels. Like, how do you not do that?
Well, that's what I said. People like us go through the
Right,
levels
I
real
do.
quick, yeah.
I do. I'm like, oh, you know, right away. He's
Wait.
my husband. Yeah.
We're going to talk about that right now.
Okay.
We're giving it time. I'm gonna actually give a time period that would be sensible to. So again, like I started off with, this part is that you have to have a healthy self. So you have to become healthy, otherwise you can't have a healthy relationship. Sick plus healthy don't work. Yeah, so two healthy people have a chance at having a healthy relationship.
Danny, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So, I had a preacher in my life years ago that asked me if I could make a change, because I'd already embarked in a relationship road, you know, jumping in for all the wrong reasons up front. And he said, because if you really care about this person, if you really love this person, then you can set aside your sexual desires and wait. And, you know, we did that. And it worked out. I mean, we do, Kim, we've been 26-year relationship, but, we jumped into it, you know, for all the wrong reasons, obviously. But then, we took a pause early on at the advice of my pastor, because, you know, we were real early on, we were thinking, well, we ought to get married. And, it's kinda like, I don't know, I mean, that was a real experience where, you know, I personally, I had to see if I really was sincere about this relationship. You know?
Yeah.
And for her sake, you know, that showed her respect, because I was willing to stay the course, hang around, not go anywhere. And it also, it did something for me personally, because it, you know, it's got me a little sense of, a different approach from, particularly since I was doing sobriety.
Now, you know, there's nothing that I'm sharing here that's written in stone, that's pat for everything and everyone. So whatever works for you, you know, nothing. Anyway, so a healthy relationship builds gradually and slowly. And again, when you try this, it doesn't feel right, because we have addictive personalities. So I'm gonna say to give yourself some time, maybe 6 to 10 weeks. Now, to see if you really want to get involved with this person. And I would suggest no sex on at least the first 3 dates. Some people say more, some people say, you know.
So don't have an all-day date, that counts as.
All-day You can have an all-day date, that's fine.
One day.
Could you make that
2 days though, if you broke it and that, you know, like you did it all day, hours.
Well, it's like, let's have a date, then you go to bed, you come back, that's not your second date, yeah.
Glad we're having this.
Now, here's what I tell my daughters, my granddaughters, and I tell you the same thing. Never have sex with your partner if you don't generally feel good in your gut about them. Never go to bed because you feel guilty or obligated. Those two feelings are the hallmarks of addicted relationships. They are totally dysfunctional. Okay? The norm in today's culture is that an adult will have 3 to 5 primary relationships that outgrow each other. That's normal. The trick is knowing when and how to get out of one. Until you know how to get out of a relationship, you'll never be free to choose to stay in one. I want to say that again. Until you know how to get out of a relationship, you'll never be free to choose to stay in one. Healthy people know how to do this. If you don't know how, then you really can't love, because love is a free expression of choice. Dysfunctional people are always looking for someone to love. They're obsessed with finding love. Love is nothing tangible. You can't give it, get it, find it. No, you can't do that. If you're lucky, you get to experience it, right? So now let's talk about two people in a relationship and how they operate on different levels. The 4 levels that we talked about, okay? This is not unhealthy in itself. Not understanding this is what's unhealthy. So let's say I have a partner and I come home and I want to go see a movie, a certain movie. So I say to my partner, you want to go see this movie? I'm in a companionship mode. She's in a romantic love mode. She says, I thought we could just stay home, cuddle on the couch, maybe we could put a movie on the TV. Now, communication is the key, and sensitivity is the key. Okay, so if I say, oh, fuck that, you stay home and watch TV, I'll go call Joe, and we'll go to the movies. That would be very insensitive, and that would not be a good move. So there's gotta be communication. Okay? And to meet, because rarely are both of us gonna be on the same level. You know, sometimes I'm in a superficial mode, sometimes I'm in a companionship mode, sometimes in a friendship mode, sometimes in a romantic love mode. And the same for my partner. And so we have to understand this. And this is why the second part of this thing that we talked about, the difference between men and women, is so important. Understanding the differences and how we think, right? Don't forget that nothing box. And how we think and how we process things so totally differently is important in understanding when it comes to this stuff here. Just because I know what a healthy relationship is doesn't mean I'm able to do that. I need to be healthy first. I need to get healthy. So what I'm trying to say to you that is important is know what you want. Know what you want. I'm going to share with you something personal. I didn't write this down. I didn't expect to share this with you, but I'll share it with you anyway. I know what I want in a relationship. I've been married 36 years in my life. 20 years to my first wife, 16 years to my second wife. So I do long-term relationships. I don't do a year, 5 years. I'm 67 years old. I've been married 36 years. So I've been married most of my life. I like being married. I want to be married. I want to find somebody and I want to be married. So my goal is to understand what I want. And I'm going to share with you what I want. Again, I didn't plan on sharing this, but I have 3 things that's important to me. And in this particular order. Number 1, I have to find somebody that I'm physically attracted to. If I'm not physically attracted to my partner, the other 2 don't even count. Number 2 is the most important of the 3. There has to be a mental connection. I have to enjoy talking to her. I have to enjoy her company. I have to be able to communicate and talk about anything with her. That's the most important thing because most of the time you spend with your partner is non-sexual. And the third thing is the sex has to be good. Now, I'm sharing with you, I'm not sharing with you, you need to do anything I'm saying. I'm sharing with you me. I know me. I could be physically attracted to you and I could love your company, but if the sex ain't good, I ain't staying. Or I could be physically attracted to you and the sex is good, but there's nothing here. No companionship. You know, I don't enjoy her company. I'm not staying. That's just my truth. So I am ready to make a commitment and marry the next woman that I am attracted to, and I love her company, and the sex is good. That's all a man can want. So know what you want. That's very important. In a healthy relationship, 2 people trade in one set of problems for a better set of problems. I am me, you are you, we are us. I'm going to tell you this now, make a note of this. This is probably one of the most important things that you can have for your future relationships. There's 3 things in every situation. And they are this: me and my shit, you and your shit, and us and our shit. Okay? The key is knowing which one is happening at the moment. Because if something's happening and it's you and your shit, I need to keep my mouth closed, which is not easy for me to do. If something's happening and it's me and my shit, I can do something about that. If it's something happening and it's us and our shit, we can talk about it. That is everything in a relationship. Years ago, I think I was living here in Oklahoma, but it was probably still in the mid-90s. And I went back home and I went to a wedding. I'm born and raised a Roman Catholic, so I'm also a recovering Roman Catholic. I went to a wedding and I'm sitting there with my kids, and on the altar was groom was here and there was a candle behind him. The bride was here and there was a candle behind her. And behind the priest was a candle. His wasn't lit. His was lit, hers was lit, this one wasn't lit. And the priest went through all these things, and he was saying these words, and then he asked them to, she grabbed her candle, he grabbed his candle, they came to the middle behind the priest, and together they lit the candle, and they turned around, and the priest said, "Now you are one," and they blew out their candles. And I was shocked. My kids were crying. People all around me were crying, and I'm like, what the F, they just blew out their own individuality. There's not one person in a relationship, there's three. There's you, me, and us. If you think there's just one of us in a relationship, you're wrong. And I was appalled. And I had seen this before in my life, but I didn't remember it. Now I'm, 4 or 5 years sober, and I'm watching them do this, and I'm going, damn, I can't believe they just blew out their individuality. And they became one. No, they didn't become one. He's going to do something she ain't like, and it's not her. She's going to do something he don't like, it's not him. There's me, there's you, and there's us. There's me, my shit, her and her shit, us and our shit. That is healthy. That makes sense. That is reality. This two of us become one is a bunch of bullshit. It's not real. Okay, addictive relationships have itself in a cycle of repeated pain. Goes like this: intense pleasure, intense pain, disillusionment, blaming myself, blaming my partner, desperate actions to make it work again, and the cycle starts over. Every once in a while we have extended periods of pleasure, but you know how good we are messing that shit up, right? All right. Healthy relationships have a repeating cycle of deepening contentment and satisfaction with their partner. A problem develops which creates pain, which results in, this is going to blow your mind, problem solving. We work at it until we solve it. And the cycle starts at an even deeper level of contentment. That's what a healthy relationship does. What is love? This is what we talk a little bit about it. Love is an active concern for another person's well-being. Love is being yourself and allowing your partner to be themselves no matter what that may be. It is always being honest, caring, and respectful to the values and wishes of your partner. It's a deep feeling of care, connection, and affection. It also shows up as patience, kindness, support, loyalty. It is the thing that gives meaning to everything else. Love is more than a feeling. It requires good attitudes and good actions. 3 important factors are care, responsibility, and respect. We care. Care, we take care of those we love. Responsibility, a response to the need of others. Respect, to treat with esteem in all areas. Love is responsible behavior towards others based on care and respect. Honor the other person. A marriage may be made in heaven, but the footwork must be done here on earth. Love cannot be forced or hurried. It cannot accommodate your schedule. It must come naturally. Now, a couple of tools to help you in your relationship. Because people want to know, how can we begin to do things? Well, make a list. Make a list of the qualities you want in your partner. If you don't have a partner yet, make a list. Just like my sponsor had me do all those years ago. And I have pressed, changed, and rearranged that list over the years. I dated a woman that was a beautiful woman. She was sharp, she was fun, she was everything. She had a daughter from the Children of the Corn. So after I was done with her, it got to the point where it wasn't healthy for me to be around a kid. And I told her her kid wasn't allowed in my house anymore. She actually stole a gold chain from me, the kid. I told her she wasn't allowed in my house anymore. And she left the kid home and come spend time with me. And I lost respect for her over that. Because where I come from, if you say your kid ain't allowed in the house, then you go fuck yourself. Excuse me, but that's what you would tell the person. And she didn't tell me that, and I lost respect for her. And After that relationship was over, I went back to my list and I put, no children of the corn. So, because I come from a loving Italian family, we don't ever talk back to our parents. This kid was telling her mom to go F herself and no and shit like that, just things that I'd never seen in my life. Born and raised in New York City, I'd never seen anybody act like that to their parent. It was an eye opener for me. So I put that down on the list. So every time I got out of a relationship, I go back to my list and I press change and rearrange it. And so make a list. And now, if you're already in a relationship, I got a couple questions for you. These are good questions. Where do you want your relationship to be on a scale from 1 to 10? So, let's just make believe. Let's just say I ask you and you say you want your relationship to be on a 10. Okay. So then the next question is, where, on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your relationship today? You say it's a 6. Okay. Well, then the next question is, what can you do in the next few days to bring your relationship from where it is to where you want it to be? And these are some ground rules into getting to where you want it to be, okay? And that's good, it's healthy. And when you're talking about a specific topic, start learning how to listen to your partner and ask your partner, how do you feel about fill in the blank? What can I do to make you feel better about this? What do you think about this fill in the blank? Let's talk. Learn to listen without talking. That's an important thing. And does anybody got a question? Because we're going to finish up here in a second. Joe.
If you're in a relationship and, you know, given you should have communication between two parties, either side can have issues going on, say work or with a friend or, you know, a family member, and they say, you know, you don't see yourself what's going on, and you share what's going on. And you immediately get suggestions, advice, and what you should do when you never ask for it. Really, you're just kind of airing things out. It's the move to say, I didn't ask you what you fucking thought, I was just talking. Or is it, you know, thank you very much for that, I'll take that under advice.
Well, if you have a partner and you respect them and you talk about them, then you have to expect their feedback. And to answer that way, that you didn't ask for that thing, is totally disrespectful, it's totally uncalled for, and it's totally not reality. Because your partner is there for you, that what I just shared, or what I want in a partner is somebody I can communicate with. That's the most important thing, mental connection. Can we talk? Can we discuss things? And because I don't like your reply, I won't disrespect you with that kind of an answer. So no, that's not okay. That's your shit.
So it's natural that in support of each other, that you would be there to try and give your opinions and advice to them as they talk.
Well, I've learned when I was married, I've learned to, when my wife would be telling me something, my ex-wife, when she would be telling me something, my first thing that I would say to her was, do you want my opinion or what do you want me to say? Because if she wanted my opinion, I'll give it to her. If she said, sometimes they just want you to listen. Well, okay, I hope everything turns out like that. Because I certainly got an opinion about everything. But, you know, it's not always wanted. And to just assume that you want my opinion is not right thinking. We'll get her first, then.
I just wanted to say, I think it's also okay for us to say, hey, I don't really want any feedback, I just want to vent to you right now. And I think that's healthy.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Exactly, preface.
Yeah,
Don't
communication is the key. Josh?
I think it's important to define what you view as success in a relationship. Kind of like what you're talking about with your list of what you're looking for in a partner. But if you think of the Disney movie, you know, the Happily Ever After, you know, I heard a comedian say one time, well, that means in order to qualify your relationship as a success, one of you has to die. So, you know, like a better way to look at it, along the lines of keep your head where your hands are at. I learned something, you know, Terry's a free spirit, and I learned something from her a long time ago. I would say to her, like, do you want to go get sushi tonight? She would say, I don't know, ask me tonight. You see what I'm saying? And so it really helped me to just kind of live in the moment, go with the flow, and in order to work on something, it means that you're always looking for something to be broken. So sometimes we can over-manage or over-manipulate situations that don't require any involvement at all.
Which is one of AA, leads us to one of AA's mottos, keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, everything's not as complicated as we make it be.
Okay, Danny, you talked about helping people know when to get into a relationship and when to get out, okay? And you talked about if a relationship hurts, that's when you get out of it, right? So the question that I was asking at the break, can we talk a little bit more about that? Like people that have only been in dysfunctional relationships, there's a lot of hurt. And you hear people say relationships take work and stuff. How do you know when it's just what a relationship takes or versus it's time to get out?
Okay, that's a fair question, that's a good question. I would say that, you know, I'd have to look at the whole relationship. Am I giving of myself honestly and openly? Am I receiving honestly and openly? If the answer is yes to those two questions, then I need to talk to my partner about what we could do, the questions I just asked. What can we do in the next few days to bring this relationship to where we want it to be? You know, but if I'm being hurt or disrespected, and this is something that I'll never tolerate, never. Because I won't disrespect you, but I will not allow you to disrespect me. And if you do something that's disrespectful to me, and if it's something that you may not realize is disrespectful for me, I'll say it to you in a nice way that I find, like, for instance, if you hang up the phone on me, that to me is totally disrespectful. So I'll tell you, listen, if we're in a relationship, don't ever do that to me again, because that's very disrespectful. I won't tolerate that. Now, I'm not trying to tell you how to act, but I'm telling you what's okay with me and what's not okay with me. And I need to have boundaries, and I need to know where I stand with myself. And I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life or do what you have to do, but I will tell you what is acceptable to me and not. And so if we're having a conversation 3 weeks later, 2 months later, and you hang up the phone on me, I am done with you. I am done with you. So, not to get too personal, but my second marriage, I left her because she did something a second time that I told her was disrespectful the first time. And when she did it the second time, I was done with her. And now this is not about her, it's not about she's a bad person, it's not about anything like that. It's only about what I'm willing to accept in my life. And I have to have those boundaries. What I'm willing to accept is this or that, and I will not tolerate stuff that is disrespectful to me. I'm not going to disrespect you, even by accident, because I'm real cautious about being respectful to my partner. But I certainly won't accept disrespect. You can do it once by mistake, you do it twice. It's that old saying, you know, do it once, shame on you, do it twice, shame on me.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, so if you and your spouse having this disagreement or whatever, and it gets to the point where you know you might say something, tongue is a sword. You can say something you can regret, hurt feelings, so you just hang up on it. My dad always tell me, two people shouldn't be arguing on the phone. All you gotta do is hang up the phone. So,
Yeah.
but it's that's disrespect, like you said. If you have the phone,
Yeah,
disrespect, you feel disrespected when somebody else does, so why should you do it to somebody else? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I'm very patient, so I'm not gonna hang up ever on anybody. The reason I won't ever hang up on anybody is because I don't allow people to do that to me.
They just saying something off the wall to you.
Well, you know,
Danny.
wait 1 second. If somebody's talking to me out of school like that, then I have to, you know, tell them that this is not acceptable. And you know, and if you wanna talk like that, then we need to leave each other alone, you know, and that's healthy.
I just wanted to add that I've had that experience before with, even women friends. And I've had to say, I need to get off the phone or whatever, and I'm gonna be hanging up, and they would just keep talking. And I will say, and to me, that was a healthy boundary to finally say,
Yeah.
I've got to hang up now,
Yeah.
and I did, cause
Yes.
I warned her.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay,
I'm
but
talking
you're
about-
saying
I'm
this
talking about we're
is-
having a conversation, you just hang up on me.
Yeah, but I'm trying to say, this is what you do instead.
Yeah.
You give them a warning, in a few seconds, I'm going to be hanging up. You're talking disrespectfully, you're not honoring my boundary that I need to get off the phone,
Yeah.
or whatever. So, cause that's a biggie for people.
Yeah.
And then when they don't respect you, to say, okay, let's talk later,
Yeah.
then I will say, okay, I've got it, I'm hanging up.
It's always about, as far as I'm concerned, it's always about not trying to control them and how they act.
Well, right, it's about my
It's only about
action.
my boundaries, what I'm
Right,
willing to accept and what I'm not willing to accept.
yeah,
And if I could live by that way, then you either belong in my life or you don't.
right.
And, you know, it doesn't make you a bad person, it just makes you a person that does things that are unacceptable to me. And that's
What's
not.
unacceptable about telling someone you're gonna hang up? You're saying that's
No, I'm
oh.
not talking about that.
Oh, you mean just someone hanging up?
No, I'm not even talking about that, I'm just talking about
In
anything.
general, okay.
In general.
Well, yeah,
in
that's
general, it's
simple,
about, it's
okay.
not about the other person, that she's bad, or she's
Right.
this, or she's that. It's only about, the only thing that's important is, am I living a life that is acceptable to me?
Right.
Am I allowing my partner to do things that are unacceptable to me? Then it's not her fault, it's my fault that I put up with that.
Exactly.
So, anyway, Melissa?
Okay, you had mentioned 6 to 10 weeks. Was that in relationship to how long before you should get the 4 levels of healthy relationship establishment? Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, I think 6 to 10 weeks is a good amount of time to understand, is this the right person for me or not?
So that's to go through all 4 of them.
Yeah, and, you know, and some people, there are some people today that will not have sex before they're married. There are people like that. Majority of people aren't like that. But me, because one of my things is good sex, I'm not gonna marry you and find out the sex is not good. We're gonna have to have sex first. And if the person that I'm with is not like that, then that's not the person for me. But yeah, the 6 to 10 weeks is a good time period for you to understand, is this person good for me? Terry?
So are you saying you shouldn't have any sex or?
No, I say you shouldn't have sex the first 3 dates.
Oh.
Yeah. 3 days. The first 3 dates.
What about the second date? You go
No, the first 3 dates you shouldn't have sex.
One of the things you said,
Hold on, guys.
one of the things you said early on, about women or men fall in love with their eyes and women fall in love with their ears, and that's why women wear makeup and men lie. Do you feel like 6 to 10 weeks is enough time to get past those superficial lies and masks?
You know, again, there's nothing written in stone. I think 6 to 10 weeks is a fair amount of time for 2 people to get to see, are they with the right person? Could be longer, could be shorter. I'm just gauging that seems to be a fair amount of time to get to know if you're with the right person. Now, you may find out in 15 weeks that that's not the right person, that you were fooled, you know, but that's a pretty good shot. Nicole?
I feel like 3 days is not long enough.
not saying anything up here that you guys have to understand. I'm not saying this is the rule, you have to follow the rule. I say don't have sex on the first 3 dates. If you wanna not have sex the first 10 dates, that's up to you. You know, and it all depends about your partner. Your partner is, how do they feel about that?
Well, and I say that because I think as a woman alcoholic who's been sober for a long time, I've had multiple relationships, some good, some not so good, some real unhealthy, some healthy.
Yeah.
And no matter what it was, having sex before a 3 or 4, maybe even later month period of time, like once you have sex, everything changes, in my opinion, in my own experience. That's what's happened to me, because there's that level of vulnerability and the relationship expectations have changed. Now, maybe I'm the only one in the room that
No,
that's
you're
happened.
probably not the only one in the room like that, and you have to go by what works for you.
Okay.
What I was just sharing was, it's not about my partner and that she's a bad person or she's this or she's that. It's about what is acceptable to me. And being, in AA, what do we say? It's on our coin. To thine own self be true. Right? That's one of our slogans. To thine own self be true. So I just need to be true to myself. And I know what that means to me. So if I'm letting somebody disrespect me or not being true to me, then I need to not be with that person. I'm not like, there's so many people get in relationships and they look at, they talk about, I gotta look in her phone, I gotta look through her drawers, I gotta look in her pocketbook, right? Listen, I never once looked through my ex-wife's phone, never once. She used to go through my shit all the time, but I never once looked at her stuff. But here's the thing, if I have to look through all your things, then I am not with the right person. I'm with the wrong person, if that's the case. So, that, again, it's not about her and what makes her good or bad or right or wrong. It's about what is acceptable to me and to my own self be true. And if I could live like that, then I can give back like that.
I wasn't to say anything, I just wanted to say that because there might be women in this room that might take that 3 days literal. You know what I mean? And that it.
No, that's just a guideline of what seems fair, If you're with a guy for the first time, don't have sex the first 3 days, If you feel you shouldn't have sex the first 2 months, that's on you. But I think it's safe to say that you need to have some type of guidelines to live by. Okay, so I hope you guys got something out of this. I guess the best way to end a relationship workshop is to quote Shakespeare. Romeo and Juliet. This quote is from Romeo and Juliet. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. My love is deep, the more I give to thee. Thank you guys for letting me do
Making me work,